hearings. Consequently, except by board members, there will be no public discussion at a regular monthly meeting of matters about which a public hearing or committee meeting has been held. Specific service delivery requests or complaints should be brought to the attention of the district office's staff by calling the board office during regular business hours or by visiting our website anytime. And other matters of civic interest may be brought before the board during our scheduled public comment period, which will begin tonight after all other business on the board's monthly meeting agenda has been concluded. No partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises will be heard. Persons wishing to speak during the public comment period were asked to pre-register. So I do have some sad news, folks. Last night, Alvin Burke passed away. Alvin served on Community Board 14 for nearly 3 decades, and he led it as chairperson for nearly 2/3 of his 30 years of service. Alvin was a giant of a man, and his stature was only surpassed by his love for his family, community, and his belief in the government's ability to serve the people well. The CB14 is extremely grateful that Alvin's wife and children shared him with us for all these years, and we send them our deepest gratitude and condolences. So please join me in a moment of silence for Alvin and his family. Thank you very much for participating in that. His funeral will be on Tuesday, March 11th, tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. at the Weinstein Garlic Funeral Home, located at 1153 Coney Island Avenue. The family will be sitting Shiva at their home on Wednesday, March 12th and Thursday, March 13th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on both days. So if anyone needs more info, please reach out to the CB14 district office. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's now 7:04. Wahil Hamed. Carissa Alfonso, Gregory Alvarez, Hindi Bendel, Benjamin Bendet, Davina Bolanot, Christopher Bromson, Edward Sen, present. Carl Henry Cesar,
Here.
Florencia Changajita, present. Yvette Claire Jean. Stephen D. Cohen. Here. Elizabeth Dennis. Derek Donald. Sabina Deauville. Joseph Dweck. Here. Gerald Gray. Suzanne Hargett. Musa Hassoun. Mordecai Husarski. Nautica Johnson. Erica Phillips Jones. Shahid Khan. Alex Lesman. Donald Loggins. Sasha Masluski. Melissa Minnick. Ephraim Nierenberg. Eric Ost. Ornella Parker. Nora Pena. Suzanne Phillip. Svi Plotska. Barden Prasant, Bazaruhi, Nina Sabger, Joel Siegel, Gail L. Smith, Tova Svenberg, Abraham Treff, Deborah Valentin,
Here.
Dawn Marie Walker. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Secretary. So before we move on to the minutes from the February 2025 General Board meeting, I'd first like to recognize some representatives who are here. So in no order, we have Ellie Slavin from Congresswoman Clark's office. So thank you very much for being here. We have Nancy Lulu from DA Gonzalez's office. So thank you as well for being here. And we have Brian Grady from Councilwoman Joseph's office. So thank you very much for being here. And also we have Avraham Malachowski here from Councilwoman Lewis's office. So thank you very much for coming here. And we also have Britt Bird from the Brooklyn Borough President's office. So thank you very much for that. And so now we move on to the minutes from the February 2025 board meeting. And so District Manager Campbell, did we receive any changes via email?
We did not.
Okay. Do we have any changes from the floor? So hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the February 2025 General Board meeting? All right. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Any against? The motion carries. So now we move to the District Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to start by congratulating Gail L. Smith for receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at Assemblymember Rodney Spichat's recognition of women. Stop it, she's not here. Gail, it's a rare absence for Gail, so we'll do a more formal recognition, and this gives you a month to prepare to embarrass her. But a well-deserved, I mean, just really a beacon and an example, and so we should all be very proud of her. I also just want to add, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but I want to express my sorrow that the Community Board has lost one of its finest champions, and we're all the beneficiaries of the legacy of Alvin Burke. So much outpouring of love and support from community members today, and I'll share that all with his family when appropriate. I have an update on 2470 Bedford. The board did approve to extend their variance with some conditions. Those were submitted to the BSA with a note that we're going to continue to monitor the location. I have been continuing to monitor the location, and we'll share substantiated observations at the BSA hearing, which I believe will take place next week, but it hasn't been confirmed. I also want to report that I attended City Council's Committee on Finance budget hearing, and the Office of Management and Budget appeared before that body. And I want to thank, I was there partly because the Future of Community Boards has a number of recommendations to the city, and one is, believe it or not, increasing the baseline of community board budgets. These budgets have not been increased in well over 20 years. I mean, just like very small percentage increases, not keeping up with inflation. We're the only city agency that has a steady headcount since its inception. And I want to thank Councilmember Farrah Lewis, who serves on that committee and who really championed both the need to support community boards meaningfully and put forth a recommendation to Dr. Jiha, the director of OMB. It's really, I feel like it's the most traction we've ever had with the city. So I also want to thank Abraham for playing the go-between and getting the messages to the member. But thank her, and we'll see where this goes. We'll be reaching out to our community members to advocate with your own elected officials to get this done, because we really do need it. And that's all for me tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, District Manager Campbell. So now we move on to the chair's report. And so for those who do celebrate Ramadan, I wish you a holy month. And for those who do celebrate Holi, I also wish them a festive Holi. And for those who did celebrate Ash Wednesday, I hope that it treated them well and that this upcoming Lent is a successful and a reflective one. In addition, March is Women's History Month, and so I sincerely thank women for contributing to every aspect of society and striving to increase the spaces in which their voices are heard and respected. So I thank all of you for that. The next thing is that the third public hearing on SUNY Downstate Brooklyn Hospital, the third public hearing will take place this Thursday, March 13th at SUNY Downstate Brooklyn Hospital. The second public hearing occurred on February 27th at Medgar Evers College. In terms of board members, I do have an update that unfortunately we do have a board member who resigned, and this board member is Kendall Washington. And so while Ms. Washington served on the board, she was very thoughtful and thorough, and she was always pushing for a deeper understanding of the short and long-term policy impacts of issues that came before the board. And so while I am sad that she can no longer participate on the board, I am very grateful and thankful for her service, and I do wish her well as she continues to advocate for her community. And so please join me in a round of applause for our former board member, Ms. Washington. And I'd also like to recognize some additional folks who came in. So we have Mary Kay Siri from Assemblymember Carroll's office. Thank you very much. And then also Officer Joseph. So thank you very much for coming as well. So next up is the Committee of the Whole. And so on Tuesday, February 25th, the Committee of the Whole met at the Brooklyn Community Board 14 office to review and make recommendations on 5 Department of Transportation open dining applications. So here was the outcome of the Committee of the Whole meeting. For 1701 Foster Corporation, DBA Rusty Nail on 1701 Foster Avenue, the recommendation was to approve the sidewalk cafe application and also to approve the roadway cafe application. For Be Humble Hospitality, LLC, DBA Lark Cafe on 1007 Church Avenue, the recommendation was to approve the sidewalk cafe. For Coffee Mob Coffee Roasters, LLC, DBA Coffee Mob at 1602 Newkirk Avenue, the recommendation was to approve the sidewalk cafe. For Sycamore Lee Corps, DBA Sycamore at 1118 Cortellia Road, the recommendation was to approve the sidewalk cafe with conditions. And then the last entity for V-Juice Incorporated, DBA Very Juice, 1815 Avenue M, the recommendation was to disapprove the roadway cafe application. So that's the summary of the recommendations that came out of the Committee of the Whole meeting on February 25th in regards to those 5 Department of Transportation open dining applications. So since the Committee of the Whole achieved its task on February 25th, do I have a motion to disband the Committee of the Whole? Okay, so are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Anyone against? So the motion carries. Okay, so next up, we had 2 public hearings this past Thursday, March 6th. So the first one was the Flatbush African Burial Ground final design public hearing. And so it took place at the Community Board 14 District Office. The purpose was to hear public testimony with respect to the final design of the Flatbush African Burial Ground. Martin Marr, the Brooklyn Commissioner of the Department of Parks and Recreation, was present, along with the lead architect of the project, Emmanuel, and the rest of the team. Emmanuel presented on the history of the site, additional research he did in service of figuring out the design, and the final design of the site. He answered board member questions, and a member of the public also shared their support of the final design and had questions for Brooklyn Commissioner Marr. Unfortunately, enough board members were not present at the public hearing to reach quorum, and so as a result, we did not make a recommendation at that public hearing. So do board members have any questions or comments regarding the public hearing on the final design of the Flatbush African Burial Ground? Yes, Carissa? So because there was no quorum, there was no recommendation that came out of that. I was just reporting on this, and this is the part where if any people have questions, if any board members have questions, we do that, and then I will make a recommendation here after that. So do you have a follow-up question, or? So there's the recording, and so if you go on, like, where we post all our videos, like, that's where you can see the whole presentation and the whole recording, essentially. Are there any additional questions from board members? Okay, so seeing none, do I have a motion for CB14 to send a letter of recommendation in support of the final design of the Flatbush African Burial Ground? Okay. So can I have all those in favor, please raise your hand? So the motion is for CB14 to send a letter of recommendation to the Department of Parks, a letter of support of the final design of the Flatbush African Burial Ground. Yes. The final design that was presented in that public hearing. So that's what the motion is for. So did I answer your question? Or? Okay, great. And so can all those in favor please raise your hand?
Only if you're a board member.
Yeah, only one.
Appreciate you. You can do a voice vote too, if it's okay.
Okay. All those opposed?
That makes it clear.
Yeah. Any abstentions? Okay. I got 4 abstentions. Okay. So the motion carries. So thank you very much for that. So next up, we have the second public hearing, which was on the New York City preliminary budget statement and register of budget requests for fiscal year 2026. And so this public hearing also took place on March 6th. It was immediately after the public hearing on the final design. So the purpose of this one was to hear public testimony with respect to the preliminary budget register, which is the document that contains CB14's requests and responses, and the draft comments for the city's fiscal year 2026 capital and expense budget. So board members discussed the comments, points of clarification, and additional questions that could be asked. So do board members have any questions or comments regarding this public hearing? Okay, so hearing none, do I have a motion for CB14 to send a letter of comment to the Department of City Planning and the Office of Management and Budget as provided in the materials for review? Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me start backwards. Are there any people opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Any opposed? Okay, so then seeing that, the motion carries. So next up, we go to the Brooklyn Borough Board report. So this report's going to be short. The Borough Board meeting took place on Tuesday, March 4th. The main update is that Brooklyn Borough Hall received over 1,100 community board applications. The second update was we were supposed to get a presentation from a state office, but unfortunately that person wasn't there. So yeah, that's the update from Brooklyn Borough Board report. Not yet. All we know, the only recap we got was that we were told they received over 1,100, but we didn't get a breakdown in terms of what that number was by, like, community district or anything like that. I could ask and see if they have that information readily available, but we didn't get that when they shared that info with us. Any other questions? Yes. I do not know how many open seats there are across Brooklyn. I don't know. No, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can ask that too, but I don't know off the top of my head how many open seats there were in community boards across Brooklyn. So, no worries. Thank you for that. Any additional questions? Okay. So, hearing none, now we move to the election of officers. And so, tonight we are holding annual elections for the executive committee. For chairperson, we have one nomination, Carl Henry Cesar. For first vice chair, we have two nominations, Donald Loggins and Eric Ost. For second vice chair, we have one nomination, Deborah Valentin. For third vice chair, we have one nomination, Ornella Parker. For secretary, we have one nomination, Florencia Chang Ajita. For members at large, we have one nomination, one for Musa Hassoun. And then for the second member at large position, we also have one nomination, Benjamin Bendet. For the election of first vice chair, the election will take place via paper ballot. So at this time, Patricia and Sean are walking around and handing out ballots. So what I ask for you is, we'll take a recess right now. Please complete your ballot. This is for board members only. Please complete your ballot and return it to the back table for collection. And then once that work is done and we have the outcome of that election, we'll continue with the rest of the slate. So thank you folks very much.
Are there any board members without a ballot?
Yeah, we're board members, yeah. So I think if not, I can come up with it. I'll be back to get some ballots. Okay, so folks, thank you very much for putting in your votes. And so we do have the tallies, and so the first vice chair will be Eric Ost. Now, for the positions that had a single nomination, and those are the positions of chairperson, second vice chair, third vice chair, secretary, and both members at large. Could the secretary please cast a single vote for those single nomination executive positions?
So passed.
Okay. Thank you very much, Secretary. And so at this point, I would like to say congratulations to the new members of the Executive Committee. So now we do musical chairs without the music.
Yeah, you're good.
Sound is killing me, though. Isn't that sound? Okay, I got you. I got you.
They have it already.
All right. So last but not least, I want to give a super mega shout out to our former Vice Chair, Edward Sen. Our second Vice Chair, Hindi Bendel. And our third Vice Chair, Shahid Khan. And I want to give them that shout out for their service to the board and community, because the simple fact is, number one, you care, and then number two, you treat people with respect, and number three, in some way, shape, or form, you showed up for people at the board and also in service of the board, but in other many ways that we don't know, right? And so these are eternally important qualities, in my opinion, and I'm honored to have served alongside you on the executive committee. And with that, that concludes the chair's report. And so now we move on to the topical committees. And so first things first, we will hear from the Transportation Committee.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deborah Valentin.
My name is Musa. All right, hi everyone. So we are going to present 3 parts of the last meeting that we had last month. So first we had a presentation from Riders Alliance. They came to present their research related to the Flatbush Ave bus service. They had partnered with the Pratt Center to understand the experience of bus riders on Flatbush Ave. They noted a few things. So first, they said that Flatbush Ave had been identified by the DOT as a Tier 1 priority investment area, and the DOT has so far divided up Flatbush Ave as a project into 3 different tiers: the north section, the middle section, which involves our district, and then a southern section. As part of their research, they had 6 community meetings, 3 business focus groups. They had a rider and expert advisory board and had done 15 days of canvassing on the street. They had put together a survey with, they got responses from about 2,000 people, 1,800 folks. And they did all their work in English, Spanish, and in Creole. So what did they find? They found that a few things. So in terms of their respondents, 58% of the folks who were bus riders that responded to this survey were Black, 72% were women, 75% made income less than $80,000. And then there were some key groups that they had also spoken to, like essential workers, students, seniors, folks with disabilities. The survey found a few things. 91% of bus riders had experienced significant consequences from bus delays. 67% had long wait times in extreme weather. 32% had lost pay or got reprimanded in some way because they were late to work. And riders with disabilities were more likely to experience long waits in extreme weather or miss medical appointments. 50% of essential workers reported losing out on some type of pay. And I encourage everyone to go watch the Transportation Committee. There were a ton of other details that you can get from it. It was very, very insightful. When they spoke to the business focus groups, 2 things that stood out. One, business owners seemed concerned about double parking and an enforcement issue in front of their businesses. And then they said that business owners often wanted, regardless of how the Flatbush Ave is designed or redesigned, they wanted the neighborhood to have a small village feel. And they wanted inclusion of dollar vans in whatever proposal came down the pipeline. Anyway, so Riders Alliance did request we sign a community letter to show general support for the project and improvements being made throughout the entire corridor. We're studying that letter. If there's any action, we'll bring it back to you guys ultimately. Thank you.
Okay, we had someone come and present about the Omni card, which is going to be replacing the Metro card as we know it today. With the Omni card, you can either get it through the app, or you can go to different locations like CVS, Walgreens, and other retail places to get it. So you don't have to only go into the subway to get it. It gives you a bunch of options that you can use. You can also refill the card with a debit or credit card online, or you can go into one of the stations, service centers, and you can use the Omni vending machines in the subway where cash is accepted. Sorry about that. Okay. Omni vending machines have larger screens now, and the text is high, and it's also high contrast so that you can see it better than the old MetroCard machines. There's also an audio assistant that will help you to hear what the machine is saying, so I think it's a good thing. Also, there's a list of stations that you can find at omni.info card, and you can add value also at mobile sales vans that would be located throughout the city. And the new benefits of having the Omni cards is and having an account is that you can track the progress towards earning free rides. You can skip the vending machine lines at times and reload your card online, set up automatic refills with a current Easy Pay program, and you can freeze the card if it's lost or stolen, which is a good incentive, because I've remembered that if you lost your Metro card, you would have to call, and then they would send you a thing. In the meantime, someone could be using your card, and they won't stop it right away. So this is a good incentive to have it done. So if you want more information, you can call Omni call center at 877-789-6669. And you can also watch our website for the meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Musa. The statistics that you gave for the survey, they were to justify the changes in the route, the bus route?
So Riders Alliance was conducting a number of studies to understand what the experiences of bus riders were along that route. I don't think we have a proposal on anything in our corridor. I think in the north part of the corridor, I think DOT has a proposal for a center-running bus lane, but there isn't anything in the central portion or the south portion.
The reason I'm saying is about 5 years ago, a similar proposal was made by Kings Highway to change the bus routes to make more express routes, but, and they did a survey like that. As it turns out, the city council person sat in his car by the bus depot, and he found that they were leaving late.
We're not going to adjudicate this here.
It was a
Yep.
bunch of
I got you.
malarkey, so we should be cautious about their surveys.
Okay. Thank you for that, Board Member Dwight.
All right, and let me see. One last update. So we had a discussion that was, this was a community board discussion in the Transportation Committee. We had a discussion that focused on the DOT engagement process around bike lanes. So we had this discussion on what approach did we want to take with DOT when they're proposing bike lanes in our district. The discussion was had as a result of unexplained delays for probably the past 2 years on rolling out plans they had already approved. It just never happened, either because of staffing issues or other reasons. And there was very limited communication about the whole thing. So DOT, in our last meeting, when we had them over, not this past meeting, the meeting before that, had invited the community to engage on projects proactively, and we wanted to take them up on their offer. So we had a big discussion about it. You can watch it online, see all the back and forth, and we came away with a particular set of consensus. So the consensus came around community members did not want to add additional barriers to rollouts to DOT's plans on certain bike lane projects, generally. There was an acknowledgement that as community board members, we provide value by having insight into how our community actually works and is built, but also we are not engineers or design professionals. And there was also a desire to proactively engage with DOT on bike lane projects, and we wanted to hold some fire to the agency's feet to actually deliver on plans that they had previously announced. So some next steps we agreed to as just in conversation, or where the consensus seemed to lie, was the Transportation Committee would work with the district office to work out a timeline of what we've been waiting on DOT to deliver in the past that would help ultimately contribute to a letter or some type of communication to DOT to kind of get the ball rolling on some of this stuff. A potential letter's in the works, but when it's relevant, we'll let you know about it.
Okay. One more important thing is that if you have the reduced fare Metro card, it's going to be replaced by Omni card, so you should get it it went out in December, so between December and now, you should have received the card, the replacement. So, so if you need any information about that, you can see me after. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you folks very much for that. And so there's a few officials I'd like to recognize, and so a few individuals I'd like to recognize. And so in order, we have Portia Edwards from Senator Myrie's office, so thank you very much for coming. We also have Brittany Dixon from Assemblymember Cunningham's office, so thank you very much for coming. And we also have Ari Kagan and Lisa Derrick. And so thank you folks very much for coming as well, too. And so next up, we have Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development. And then after that, Housing and Land Use.
Hello, everybody. We didn't have a meeting this month, but we're scheduled, we're working on a date for April 22nd, for a DEP presentation on flooding. I'm hoping that the budget increase for the community boards goes through so we can get the podiums back here. And we can get new speaker cables, because that's what's causing this. Take it from somebody who plays music and has PAs. That's what's going on
That's
here.
that baseline budget increase.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We need new speaker cables. They don't cost that much. I also like to say also something about Alvin. You know, there were Alvin and his wife Judy. You know, there were a number of Halloweens where I sat at their house and watched, you know, hundreds of kids come by. You know, mostly because they knew Judy from PS 217, but they welcomed these kids and the kids adored them. You know, the candy helps, but it was a beautiful scene every Halloween. You know, they are beautiful people, and we're going to miss Alvin. So.
Thank you, folks. So next up, we have Housing and Land Use, followed by Community Safety.
Good evening, everybody. Greg Alvarez on behalf of my co-chair, Melissa Minnick. We'd just like to announce in 2 weeks we're going to have our next meeting, March 24th. That's a Monday, and it will be held on WebEx. So we're going to have 2 speakers. The first will be David Weisglass from the Department of City Planning to discuss updates on the implementation of the City of Yes. So we welcome everybody to bring their questions and comments on that. Secondly, we're going to have Anthony Coker, Program Manager of Neighbors Helping Neighbors, who will be discussing the programs that they have for tenants and first-time homebuyers. So again, we welcome everybody to come to attend March 24th on WebEx, 6:30 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Community Safety.
Good evening, everyone. On the 20th of this month at 6:30 p.m., we will have Zenith Taylor Esquire from New York State Unified Court System and from Kings County District Attorney's Office, we'll have Frank Ungerer, the Senior Assistant District Attorney. Please tune in. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Florencia. So next up, we have Human Services.
Good evening, everyone. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 3rd at 6:30. We are working on our speakers, and they will likely cover topics around infection prevention and vaccination and cancer screening. And we're also gearing up for the nonprofit roundtable, which will be on Wednesday, May 21st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you know any new nonprofits in our board, please contact the district office so that we can extend to them an invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Nina Sabgir. I don't know if we're going to have anyone from infection and vaccination. I've been having a lot of trouble getting people to respond back. I have a few other people in the works, though, so in any case, we hope to have some interesting preventative information for everybody and some interesting speakers. On February 27th, I went to a hearing at Medgar Evers College regarding Downstate Medical Center, and they have their community advisory board, and they have had 2 hearings so far. I was at the second, and there will be a third meeting, which will be March 13th, on Thursday. That one will be at SUNY Downstate. So the first thing, first of all, there were a lot of local representatives, including, his name was mentioned earlier, Assemblyman Cunningham was there. There were quite a few other people. We got a Zoom from Albany, from Governor Hochul. And the one thing that they said very, very strongly was they are not closing the hospital. The state has set aside, or is setting aside, if I can get the number right, $750 million, okay, so close to $1 billion, to renovate and repair the hospital. The testimonies that people gave from the community were, some of them were pretty heart-wrenching. I mean, they talked about infrastructure issues like no hot water for patients to bathe with, and unpotable drinking water. So the only way you can get water if you are a patient in the hospital is if they give you a little plastic bottle of water, which not only adds tremendously to waste, but it's expensive. And this is because nothing has been done to maintain the infrastructure for years and years and years. And so, so a lot of the things, you know, people basically were giving kind of their wish list, their, you know, the things that they think need to be attended to, and repairing and updating the infrastructure was one of the issues that was raised. Other things that were raised were the need to maintain and upgrade things like CT scans, MRIs, cardiac cath lab, even sonography, other kinds of testing and diagnostic work, so that patients don't have to be sent to other places to get these things done. And that also circles back to another issue that people discussed, was the need to simplify how people are referred and how they get their care, so that they don't kind of get lost in this quagmire of referrals and phone calls and trying to get appointments and so forth. The other big ask from the community was the need to upgrade and increase mental health services for the community. So that came up a number of times. It's a very big need for primary care, very big need for mental health services. And something else that came up was improving it. I mean, one time, you know, I know historically at one time Downstate had a phenomenal midwifery service, and it kind of went by the wayside as midwives moved to other places, retired, et cetera, and were not replaced. But a big ask was to improve maternity services at Downstate. There will be another hearing. It will be at the hospital, like I said. I have a...
The information is up on our website as well.
It's on the website, okay. And there is, just in case anyone is interested, you can go online to https://downstateadvisoryboard.org, and you can make comments there as well. But I'll just repeat, they said the hospital is not closing, so they don't want to hear people screaming about, don't close the hospital. What they want is very specific recommendations for ways that the money is spent to improve Downstate and make it, once again, a viable and vibrant health service for the community. Thank you.
I just want to quickly add one other announcement, because I forgot to ask the co-chairs to announce this, sorry. The Heights and Hills Senior Center has volunteer opportunities. They are looking for people to promote successful aging for Brooklyn adults 60 and up. Their friendly visiting program provides social support to older adults. There'll be more information on our website, or contact the office, or come to Nina and Yvette's Human Service Committee, because Heights and Hills will be presenting. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, the Youth Services, Education, and Libraries Committee.
So not least.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hello. That was so dry. It is Monday. Y'all got to come better than that. Hi, everyone. Hello. Happy Monday. Okay. Woo. So we did not have a meeting last month, but we do have something epic coming up in 2 days. So I have a pop quiz. Who in the audience could tell me what's happening in 2 days? That hand flew up. Yes. What is happening in 2 days? Yes. So when I say youth, do you say conference? Youth? I just told y'all about dry. Youth? Yes, in 2 days we have our youth conference at the YMCA on Flatbush from 4 to 7. So if you have not signed up yet, please make sure you do. Please come support. There's still time. We have a lot of schools that are volunteering. We're almost at 100% communicated with all the schools. So we're excited to see our youth come out. They come out in both loads. Last year we had a monsoon. Not joking, it really felt like there was a tsunami happening, and kids still came out in both loads, so please come support as well. We are still looking for volunteers as usual. We have it pretty much covered, but we will always accept more help, so if you want to come volunteer and serve our youth, you still can support with setup, during, or also breakdown. Tell them, come on.
If you see on the table in the back, there are flyers that need to be on walls, doors, food establishments, and there's only one more day to put them up there. So we don't need them after tonight. Take them with you. They're in all sorts of languages. And I did look at the weather, and today was nice. But Wednesday is going to be really nice. It's going to be really nice. So I hope that you spend that time walking up Flatbush Avenue to the YMCA.
All right, so we seeing you guys when? You guys are worse than my students. I spent all day with you. We are seeing you on? For the? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, MCs Parker and Os for that one. You know it's true. You guys MC. You got stage presence. I feel you. I feel you. And so, folks, round of applause for Wayne Rosenfeld and the East Midwood Jewish Center for hosting our meeting, right? And also to Mark Moss for live streaming, because without both of them, we could not do this. And so thank you so much, both of you. So now we are entering the public comment period. And so board members, I do expect you to remain for the public comment period. Speakers can sign up for time with Patricia in the back up until the beginning of the public comment period. And for matters of civic interest and announcements of public events are invited. Please, no partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises are permitted. Each speaker will be permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not receive additional time from another speaker. So speakers are directed to address the assembly from the front of the room. At the conclusion of the 3-minute period, each speaker must return to their seat. So the board does have an obligation to conduct its business in an orderly manner, and so any person preventing the meeting from continuing may be asked to leave. And accordingly, speaking time will be assigned first to speakers from different groups, then to speakers addressing different issues, and finally, time permitting, to additional speakers on an issue from a single group. So it is 7:56 p.m. The first speaker will be Portia Edwards from Senator Myrie's office.
Good evening, everyone. I feel like this spot is coveted, like the first spot. That's only because I registered last week. My name is Portia Edwards. I'm the District Director for State Senator Eleanor Myrie's office. I just wanted to bring greetings this month. I see a couple faces. I see you. A couple things that we have going on this month. On the 18th, March 18th, starting at 10 a.m., we're having our second annual with the Department of Labor Central Brooklyn job fair happening. It's also happening with other elected offices, so you're going to hear them announce it as well. But it's happening on March 18th, starting at 10 a.m. at the Brooklyn Library at Grand Army Plaza. We have over 30 businesses there, so please, if you know anyone that's looking for work, if you know any businesses that are looking to hire, you can always reach out to me. We can get them signed up. That is next week, Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, outside of that, we're going to be tabling also at the youth conference because we will. We will be hiring interns this summer like we do every single year. So come and visit our table at the youth conference. We'll see you there. When? On Wednesday, right? Wednesday at the youth conference. And make sure you guys take the flyers. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Edwards. So next up, we have Britt Bird from Borough President Reynoso's office.
Hi, everyone. My name's Britt. I am the liaison to the Community Board for Brooklyn Borough President Reynoso. He wishes everyone a happy Ramadan, happy Purim, happy St. Patrick's Day, happy Women's History Month, and happy to announce, as said earlier, we did receive over 1,100 applications for community boards across Brooklyn, and I can say that 49 of them were new applicants to Community Board 14. We had a couple more. We had about like 20-ish that were reapplicants, people who are currently on the board. And I want to thank everyone who submitted an application for Community Board 14. I think I spoke to about 2/3 of you, and I want to say the applicant pool was very strong. And I want to reiterate something I said at the end of a lot of the interviews, which is that every year our biggest constraint for making quality appointments is simply the number of vacancies. And every year there will be a fresh batch of vacancies, especially with term limits coming up. So we really encourage for everyone to really keep their interest in being involved with the community board, both in terms of applying every year, but also just staying tuned in to committee work, to the general meetings. And I want to thank everyone for being involved, because democracy is both a very big thing, a very big concept that we all practice, but it's also a very small thing that we all practice in our daily lives, and this work is part of that. So thank you for everyone again. Upcoming, we have the State of the Borough in 2025. We have a flyer here announcing that. It's on April 10th, Thursday, April 10th. You're all invited to join BP Reynoso for his annual State of the Borough address. This year it will be held at Boys and Girls High School, kind of Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy. Doors will open at 6 p.m. and the program begins at 7. Community board members, and then next we'll go on to free tax prep. We have a flyer here. BP Reynoso is hosting free tax prep. Incomes of $65,000 or less are eligible to receive assistance for free. Next, we have the Borough Culture Grant Program funding application. Is now accepting applications for the 2025 year. Grants can help with marketing and promotion of arts and cultural programs, and you can apply by up to the beginning of this month. And then want to also repeat that we have our bi-weekly constituent services pop up at Cortell U Library here in the district every other Monday. And then on 4/15, there's a Fraud Risk Prevention 101 event being held at Borough Hall. More information on the flyer at the back as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Britt. So next up, we have Tyrone McDonald from NHS Brooklyn.
Good evening, everyone. How you doing out there? Good. Just on behalf of Neighborhood Housing Services, we want to wish condolences on behalf of the passing of Mr. Burke. Just want to say that. Known him for many years, and he will surely be missed. I'm sorry about that.
Tyrone, you want to use this one?
All right. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulties. Just a couple announcements. My name is Tyrone McDonald, and I'm with Neighborhood Housing Services of Brooklyn. Number one, this Friday, March the 15th, is the deadline for the notice of property value. So if you are a homeowner, all right, Friday's the deadline if you want to challenge your assessed value of your home, if you think you're being appraised by a DOF, your home is actually cheaper, or let's say there's some wrong information regarding your property, the size of your property, other information. This Friday is actually the deadline to challenge that. If you need any help, you can always call Neighborhood Housing Services at 718-469-4679. is you probably also know that the city council passed a bill which would allow homeowners of 1 to 2 family homes, if you get Star and also Enhanced Star, to get a free garbage can with the lid on it, okay? And that's effective on August the 1st, so it starts on August the 1st. Now, if you meet that guideline and you actually purchased a bin before then, you can actually file for reimbursement, okay? This is effective on August the 1st. Neighborhood Housing Services, we also have some events coming up. Tomorrow we do have our monthly home buying webinars. You can actually, I do have some flyers in the back. You can also go to our website at nhsbrooklyn.org to register. On March the 18th, we're having an energy savings webinar. We're going to discuss HVAC systems, weatherization, solar, and other ways to save money on utility bills, which is going higher and higher. That's going to be on March the 18th at 6 p.m. And you can also have flyers in the back, but you can also go on nhsbrooklyn.org. You can also call us at 718-469-4679. I'll be hanging around if you want to talk to me further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, so next up we have Mary Kay Siri.
Hey, everybody. Before I talk to you about our events, I want to introduce Sean Girl, who is a new community representative in our office, and you'll be seeing him around a little bit more. He'll be coming with me to these meetings and any other things that we can invite him to. Send us a note at the office. So my announcements are, on Monday, March 31st, the MTA bus is coming to our office. It's going to be parked right in front, and you can take care of all your MetroCard business, and you can apply for your reduced fare MetroCards, as well as ask questions about Omni and anything else with a MetroCard. We also have the New York State Comptroller coming on March 31st, same day, and they're going to assist folks with applications for unclaimed funds. You can actually go on the Comptroller's website and look up and see if you have any money floating around, and they can help you get it. And finally, NYPD's Crime Prevention Unit is going to be there, tabling and talking about strategies to help protect yourself and your property as the weather gets warmer. We all know crime goes up, and they'll be there from 10 to 2 as well. The Comptroller's 10 to 12:30, MTA bus 10 to 2, and NYPD 10 to 2. And then finally, on Sunday, May 4th, we have our annual Spring Clean and Green event coming. So start squirreling away all your shreddable paper and all your e-cycling and everything, because we're going to have all the usual stuff. In addition, we're going to have a children's book exchange where you can donate children's books and take home children's books. NYPD will have bike etching, and drum roll, we have a new addition. The DMV mobile unit is going to be coming to our event, so you can apply for your enhanced ID or real ID there and not have to go to the DMV office. So that'll be exciting. Thank you.
Okay. Sunday, May 4th. Thank you so much. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Mary. And so next up, we have Ellie Slavin.
Good evening. My name is Ellie Slavin. I'm Community Liaison for Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. There are two events that one was already mentioned, I'll mention it again. We're located at 222 Lenox Road between Rogers and Ostrand, and we handle all federal issues. Our number is 718-287-1142. And as I always say by the meetings, because we're being inundated with people who need their passports, and their passports are not valid. So if your passport is not valid 6 months, you can't travel. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're traveling within a week, contact our office, and we most likely are able to assist you to get an emergency passport in the New York office. If you are applying for a passport, it's worthwhile. The extra couple of dollars, I think it's about $70, $80. That's just a couple of dollars. But for expediting and next day delivery, it's well worth it to avoid a lot of aggravation. Also, our office, it's been a while, but I wanted to make sure it's settled. We have 2 satellite offices where we have representation for constituent services. One is not far from here, Kojo, 1523 Avenue M. You need to call to make an appointment, 718-377-2900. I'm there, and we have representation every first and third Wednesday of the week. And people have been coming up. We also have now an office in Assemblyman Eichenstein's, Simcha Eichenstein's office. I'm there every second and fourth Wednesday. The 2 events that are coming up, one is going to be on March 12th, Senior Focused Tax Information at the Brooklyn Public Library, 10 Grand Army Plaza, between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. I left flyers on the table. You can call in. You don't need to register, but we prefer you do register, and there's also the QR codes. The second event is where we was already mentioned by the representative of Zelen Myers. We are also co-hosting with the Assemblyman, State Senator, I'm sorry. And that's going to be, again, March 18th, as mentioned before, at the Central Library. Good night. Get home safe.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Nancy Lulu.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. I bring greetings on behalf of DA Gonzalez to everyone. I also wanted to start off by sharing my thoughts and prayers with the family and loved ones of Alvin Burke. May his memory be a blessing to everyone that knew him. I also wanted to share that my office, the Brooklyn DA's office, in partnership with the NYPD, will be having a gun buyback event with no questions asked. It will be on April 5th, a Saturday, in the Cornerstone Baptist Church in Bed-Stuy. The flyer is not finalized yet. Once it's finalized, I'll share with the community board and with the 7-0. My office also will be at the youth conference on Wednesday. We'll be tabling there as well. And I also wanted to share our Action Center's phone number. If there's anything you would like to address with the DA's office, you can call 718-250-2340. And thank you for having us this evening. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Nancy. So next up, we have Brian Grady.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brian Grady. I'm the Director of Constituent Services for Councilmember Joseph. I'd just like to start by congratulating the incoming board and thanking the outgoing board for your service to this community. And I'd just like, on behalf of the council member, like to pass along my condolences on the passing of Mr. Burke. I have just a few announcements from our office. So the first is an English for Work program that our office is sponsoring. That's going to be held at the Flatbush Library at 22 Linden Boulevard. This is going to be on Saturdays, so it's Saturday, March 22nd, 29th, and April 19th and 26th from 12 to 4 in the afternoon. This is for English language learners looking to improve their English skills for work capacity. You can work on things like your resume writing, job search skills, job vocabulary, computer skills, and workplace communication skills. So the flyer is in the back, and you can scan the QR code to register, or there's a phone number at the bottom that you can call. We are also delighted to announce that we'll be having HPD in the district. This is going to be in March, May, and July. The first time they're going to be here is on Tuesday, March 25th from 10 to 5. That's in front of our office at 930 Flatbush Avenue, so they can help with applying for affordable housing, understanding your rights and responsibilities, either as a landlord or a tenant, filing housing complaints, financing improvements and repairs, remedying violations, and much, much more. As ever, every month we do have New York Legal Assistance Group in the district with their van. The next time they're going to be here is Tuesday, March 25th from 10 to 3. If you have any housing and benefits issues, we still have some slots available, so please give us a call to book an appointment. And I think I plugged this last time, but we are still, along with a number of offices, promoting the free tax filing offered through the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. I think the closest one for most folks in District 40 will be at Metro Plus at 2221 Church Avenue. So pick up a flyer for that and schedule an appointment. As ever, we offer housing and immigration services at our office every week. And you're welcome to call us for those things or come by. And you can also feel free to reach out to us with any other concerns in the community. We're at 930 Flatbush Avenue between Church and Snyder. And you can give us a call at 718-287-8762. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for that, Brian. So next up, we have Abraham.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avraham. I'm Director of Outreach and Community Engagement for the Office of Councilmember Farrah Lewis. I feel a little underdressed without the podium here, but I guess I'm going to have to make do. In the past month, our office held a TPS rally in front of City Hall. We did that in partnership with Council Members Joseph and Narcisse. We thank them very much for their partnership. We are also having another in-district rally this Friday night in front of St. Jerome's, which is on the corner of both Newkirk and Nostrand. I have a whole bunch of flyers over here. It's going to be starting at 6 p.m. and we hope everybody will be able to come out there and make their voices heard. Additionally, our office is going to be doing, in partnership with Councilmember Ina Vernikov, the speaker, and Kojo, we are going to be having a homeowner benefit information session. So as was mentioned earlier by Tyrone, that it's now the deadline for any housing things that you may be eligible for, right? Any notice of property value things or anything like that. So anything that you want, you'll be able to come and apply. It will be on Wednesday, March 12th, starting at 12 till 5:30. Additionally, in the past month, our office hosted our 4th annual Unapologetically Black. We had over 300 people by the Brooklyn Museum. We thank everybody for coming out there, and we thank our partners. We are going to be having our annual Women's of Distinction event on the 27th of this month. Location is still being confirmed, but keep your eyes out. And now when it comes to legislation, the council member introduced 2 resolutions. The first resolution was to have calling upon the New York State to up the amount of money that low-income people can have when they apply for burial assistance. The current amount of money that you can make is only $3,400, which doesn't do much when it comes to burial. So we're asking the state to raise it to $6,000. And lastly, she also introduced Resolution 776, which urges CUNY to collect and publicly report data of all internships and all opportunities that they give out so that nobody is going to miss out on any opportunities. As always, our office is located 1434 Flatbush Avenue. You can reach us either by calling us at 718-629-2900 or by walk-ins. If anyone has any questions or anything, I'll be hanging around afterwards, and I'd like to wish everyone a happy Purim. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Melanie Wilkerson.
I'm a little shorter, so I can't stand to have the microphone taller than me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Melanie Wilkerson. I'm coming to you all from Community Board 17. Hello. I'm a co-chair of the Land Use and Zoning Committee, as well as the Sergeant at Arms for the Community Board 17. I'd also like to acknowledge you, Ms. Parker, because I feel like ever since your energy visited the microphone, the audio issues seem to have been corrected. So I come making simple points. One, myself and colleagues on the board have recently began to just explore more of what camaraderie building means throughout Brooklyn with our fellow community board members across the borough. So I'm here simply to observe and also just be a friendly energy to you all. When you see me here or anywhere else in the community, please do not hesitate to say hello. I'm friendly and I'm open, and particularly in the name of work that we're all doing to uplift the community, it's important that we build camaraderie more often. Secondly, I wanted to ensure that I was here intentionally to connect and network. So, Mr. Alvarez, I saw you at the microphone earlier. I would really love to speak to you before we leave all together this evening, as well as yourself, Mr. Chair, to just invite you into more of this collaboration conversation we're having. And lastly, in the name of my being here and visiting your board, you are welcome to visit Community Board 17. Our monthly public board meetings take place on the third Wednesdays of every month. So the next meeting, the third Wednesday, just making sure, is it the 19th?
Yeah.
Thank you all, since I didn't have my phone readily up.
How's that for collaboration?
There you go. So Wednesday, March 19th at 7 p.m., similar to when you all have your meeting start time, please, you are welcome to come and you'll see me because I help run a lot of the meeting structure and logistics. And that's all. Thank you all. Oh, yes, thank you. We actually meet at SUNY Downstate. The address to plug into your calendars would be 395 Lenox Road. 395 Lenox Road, so that you know which area of the campus to report to. It's on the first floor in the auditorium. If there are any questions relating to CB17, feel free to find me before you leave this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Member Wilkerson, I want to shout out your district manager. Cherie Frazier is a treasure. I really appreciate her and admire her leadership.
And thank you for coming. Yep. So some of us, you'll see some of us there on March 17th. So thank you. Next up, we have Antonia Bramble and Jay Taubman.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Brooklyn Public Library. My name is Antonia Bramble. Linda Johnson, President and CEO of Brooklyn Public Library, attended Council Speaker Adrian Adams' final State of the City address, and Council Speaker Adrian Adams announced a $2 million proposal to expand 7-day service to 10 additional library branches citywide, an encouraging step towards greater investment in public libraries. Our president is grateful for Speaker Adams and the City Council's long-standing support of libraries and look forward to working with the council throughout this budget cycle. It is a welcome change that this year libraries are not facing deep budget cuts and that the council is considering expanding our funding. With several months of advocacy ahead of us, securing the city's investment in libraries is crucial. The increased cost of providing library service must be addressed as a part of any proposal that contemplates expanding library service. Libraries deserve greater investment, a point Brooklyn Public Library will illustrate in the coming weeks, beginning with our upcoming budget hearing. Our public advocacy begins with a rally ahead of the New York City Council's preliminary budget hearing on Tuesday, March 18th at City Hall. Brooklyn Public Library is still offering free tax help for people making $65,000 or less and families with dependents earning $93,000 or less in 2024. There are 11 sites across the system where people can go for support. So please visit brooklynpubliclibrary.org to find the closest branch that is offering tax help.
Good evening, I'm Jay Taubman. I'm adult librarian at Cortelyou branch. Kids Explore Hip Hop Dance will be at our branch this coming Thursday, March 13th, 2025, from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m., covering the history of women in hip hop, and we can learn new dance moves from that. Night in the Library was held last Saturday, March 3rd, starting at 7 p.m. until 2 a.m. at the Central Library. It was an after-hour series of discussions, performances, and screenings, and was successful. We will be tabling at the CB14 Youth Conference at the YMCA. And last, we have other programs that we are offering. Please see flyers that have been left on the table in the back for more information. Happy Purim, happy St. Patrick's Day, happy Ramadan, and happy Women's History Month to everyone. Thank you.
So thank you for having us this evening.
Thank you so much.
Sorry about that. That night at the libraries was probably, well, the best thing I've done so far in 2025, and it'll be hard to beat. It was such a wonderful, great community gathering. I learned a lot, had a blast. Everybody here, don't miss it next year. Try. Let's go for it.
I see DJ Parker has entered the chat, right? And so our next speaker, we have Brittany Dixon from Assemblymember Cunningham's office.
Yeah, let me adjust the mic a bit. Everybody's a bit taller than I was expecting. Good evening, everybody. My name is Brittany Dixon, and I am the Chief of Staff for Assemblymember Cunningham. Just some of our office information. We're located on 249 Empire Boulevard. Our phone number is 718-771-3105. And just important events or dates that we have within our office. Last week, we had wrapped up a women's empowerment event. And essentially, we had some licensed professionals such as doulas, nutritionists, psychologists come and give women some insight on how they can have better habits within their life, as well as any advice that they needed to move forward or essentially just to improve their overall mental health and the way that they communed with women. So that was last Thursday. I know Portia had mentioned it, but we are collaborating in order to bring a job fair, a DOL job fair, and that's going to be March 18th at the Brooklyn Public Library. Also, I see Ornella, we have our Educators Roundtable on March 26th. Please come out and allow us to have a better understanding of how we can improve legislation to positively affect our educators in the community. Outside of that, on the more legislative end, because outside of what we do in the district, a large part of it is us in Albany advocating for your real life situations to come to life through legislation. I just want to give about 2 of our priority bills that we had put out on March 6th. And the first one, I'll also give you guys the numbers just in case you want to look it up on your own time. The first one is A2625, and this is essentially to pilot a program that would bring about high-impact tutoring. During COVID, a lot of learning was lost, and in order to supplement kids who essentially need the assistance, we're pushing for high-impact tutoring to become something that's mandatory. Also, A3647, and this is faith-based affordable housing. So we're pushing also for faith-based organizations to be able to have affordable housing on their property. So again, my name is Brittany Dixon. If you have any other questions, I'll also be around. But thank you, everybody, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much. And so I'm looking at this list. I believe that's all the speakers for the public. Is there any member of the public who has yes, you have an announcement? Yes, so you can come to the microphone now. Yeah, come on.
We'll do it in size order next time.
Listen, good evening, everyone. As you can see, I'm a member of Vocal New York, which is civil rights union, homelessness union, HIV, AIDS, and so forth. But at this point, I'm not speaking concerning that. There's something new that is attacking us in the community, which seems to be some sort of new strain of COVID. They're not sure. It can possibly be flu, but I'm sure everyone has somehow run into someone, or you yourselves have been feeling faint, or whatever the case may be. So what I've done is I've created something called CARE, which is COVID Awareness Resource Education and initiative, and anyone that would be willing to help me to organize this in terms of, because remember the first COVID circumstances we had, there was almost no oversight, there was almost nothing, no information, and so forth and so on. So we don't want for that to be, another instance in which no one knows what's going on and so forth. So if anyone is interested, please contact me afterwards, and we can sit down and hammer things out in terms of how we can address this and possibly create some sort of coalition that can be an oversight committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, and so as usual, I do want to thank the members of the public for coming out tonight, because it is always great and informative to learn about new programs, but also to hear updates in terms of the work that people are doing. And so with that last announcement, that does conclude the public comment period. And so do I have a motion to adjourn? All right. And so this meeting is adjourned at 8:27 p.m.